Oh yeah. Got myself a free snowblower. Need to put a carb on it, but it was my grandfather's. This thing is ancient. I'm not even sure what model it is, but the carb is hooped. So I need to order a carb, but I gotta figure out what it is so I can order the right carb. But fixing this will probably be in this video too, because this is not going to be a one-night thing. Basically, I'm tearing down the P74. I'm gonna put a OEM Husqvarna cylinder on it. This one here. Yeah. I also need to print out another timing wheel so I can do this one right. And I want to experiment with this junk cylinder on raising the upper transfers. I want to get good at that. And I might want to experiment with some finger ports. So this is going to be my, well, actually I'm going to use that cylinder, the old one, as a practice cylinder, but you know, one thing at a time. I got the Pioneer all torn down. I made a new timing wheel. I want to see what the numbers are right now on the cylinder, but before I go back into that, my carburetor for the snowblower came, so I'm going to put that on and make sure it runs, because the leaves have started to fall, and if you live in Vermont, it's going to snow in a couple weeks. So I got to get that thing set so I can blow my driveway. First things first though, I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. Got myself a ham and cheese and Dorito sandwich. Alright. Looks like I gotta take these nuts off first. Oh, let's find a wrench. Holy shit, first try. Hold up. I guess I should start by matching up the new carb of the old one. Throttle looks the exact same, so that should work. But this one has a primer pump. I might hook that up. We'll see. But everything looks the same except for the choke. But if I can just reach my hand in there and move it, I'm fine with that. This is not a professional snowblower. This is just something to get me through the winter, and I'm kind of curious to see how long it'll last. Okay, now we know that that'll work. All right, we got one bolt out. Put it on our magnet tray. Now the next side. Oh, this one's a little harder. I gotta take the gas line off first. And it's not a normal clamp, but we got it anyway. I have some fresh clamps for this anyway. The kit did come with a new gas line, but I don't think it'll work. Let's see how fun getting this one out will be. Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Alright, let's see if I got it. Oh. Alright, now we gotta undo these top ones. Oh my god. Jesus. Alright, let's see if this gets it off. Oh, okay. That comes out. Kind of glad the pull cord works good. Although, probably gonna want a bigger pull handle for it. Actually, the gas line they sent me might fit. I'm gonna try it. Alright, no shit. The gas line they sent me is indeed long enough, which is kind of strange because this is made in like the 1920s, but it is the right size. So I guess I'm gonna try and figure out how to hook up the primer bulb, and yeah, that's it. All right, now we got everything on, gas line and all that shit. Let's tighten up all these bolts. I'd say the snowblower is fixed. I got the carb on there, I replaced the gas line, had to make I just drilled 3 holes and put the primer bulb in this plate. Yeah, I don't even need to choke it. Just prime it a couple times, fires right up. I call that a win. This thing is ready. I already greased up everything that would take grease. I changed the oil in the auger drive, changed the oil in the engine. Bingo bongo. I'm gonna get a tarp for it, and yeah, word. Now I also printed out another timing wheel. Now first off, I don't know, in my head I thought this would be an awesome firewood saw because like the vintage saws are great, but I kind of worry about them breaking and parts are really hard to find. So I was like, ooh yeah, if I put a 372 cylinder on there, I can just buy a new one. Like there's so many of them. But I got to thinking, with the exhaust coming out of the bottom, it's just really impractical. Like, you would have to build a weird stand so it'd sit upright, and it's bleh. So instead, I'm going to turn this into just a race saw. Basically, no more felling dogs. I'm just gonna probably copy the bolt pattern, but I'm just gonna have a smooth plate. Same thing with the clutch cover. I'm just gonna have a nice smooth plate. So, you know, there's no resistance, doesn't grab in, it'll just slide down. I'm going to get a 8 or maybe even a bigger sprocket. And the biggest thing I'm doing, I have never used an expansion chamber, like a proper expansion chamber. So, what I did is I went onto a 2-stroke expansion chamber calculator. I put in all the numbers I needed to do, and I got the measurements and the lengths and the diameter of the pipe I need to make an expansion chamber. Now, I am a sheet metal fabricator. I make pipes for a living. So we have this thing at work where it's like a at-home project form. You basically fill it out, tell them exactly what you need, and they will laser cut me all the pipe I need, and I can just form them and roll them at work. So I am building a properly tuned expansion chamber pipe for this saw. Pretty badass. Next summer, after, well, you know, it's kind of fall right now, so during the winter I'm going to be tinkering on it, but I really want to enter a chainsaw competition, and I want to put the P74 in it and my blue and orange Husqvarna, the 372. I want to enter that in it. So my goal is to build 2 expansion chambers. They're going to be a little different because the saws have different strokes. Same cylinder, but different strokes. All right. To make this more professional, I found a journal. Basically, I want to write down my goals, what I have to do, and that way I can keep track of everything that I do. All right. First order of business. Gotta take the clutch off. Oh my God. Oh. That was on a little tight. I'm just gonna use some electrical wire. I'm not using this cylinder or piston, so I don't really care if it gets scored because of this. I doubt it would. Oh. Okay, maybe I should start torquing stuff down with my hand instead of an impact. That's a little too tight. Oh, yeah, definitely a little too tight. Alright, note to self. Stop using impacts on these older saws. Alright, we got our timing wheel all bolted up. Now, just gotta put it on the drill chuck. Alright. Alright, so, got my log started. The exhaust roof is at 103, which is higher than I want it to be. I'm going for like 97, 98. I like a high exhaust roof, higher RPM. It's the way to go for me. Now, I'm going to do the upper transfers. Okay, so I'm basically thinking, doing some math. What I want. Upper transfers to land on 120 when they open. I don't know a fucking thing about upper transfers. Like, I kind of understand it on an intake port saw, but on a reed saw, like, what? Exhaust 98, maybe a little lower, because when I compress the base gaskets, it'll raise the exhaust roof. So I might aim low and hit high. Finger ports. I'm going to put some finger ports on this saw, not this cylinder. I might practice on this cylinder, but finger ports. And I gotta retard the timing about 8 thousandths. I think that'll get me where I want it. And I want to run this saw on alcohol. Now I know I have to drill out the jets on the carb because you need a lot more alcohol. Or is it the other way around? I think it leans it out, because I've seen videos where people are running it on alcohol and then they switch it to normal gas to flush it out because it rots out the lines in the carb. But it'll run super rich as soon as it hits normal gas. So I wanna try running this thing on alcohol. Like, this is full send. The P74, I originally thought it would be a good firewood saw because it's a modern engine and you can just buy a new one. So, you know, you don't really have to worry about hurting it. But it's impractical for that. And I don't know, I really want to build a competition saw. And this is just a great project to start out with. I mean, why not? It's the P74. Also, expansion chamber. That is definitely happening. I already gave them the list of all the pieces I need. I'm just waiting for them to find time to burn it so I can form it. Yes, so we got some stuff to do. Definitely be a project, but you know, I'm not in a rush. I'm just gonna take my time, make it look nice, while make it run nice, and yeah. But yeah, that's a wrap. This is like the introduction. I gotta do some YouTubing and figure out what exactly I'm gonna do for the upper transfers. I'm thinking, because it's a totally different cylinder, I'm sure it's completely off. So I'm going to figure out what a stock P51 upper transfer numbers are, and then figure out what I have to do to increase the top end, torque band, something like that. So yeah, I gotta do some research, do some thinking. Yeah. Toodles.